this is an incredible question. And the reason I give that to you is because I was 25, and I heard Earl Nightingale say to me one time that if I would spend 1 hour every day on the same subject for 5 years, I could become an expert on that subject. But 1 hour a day, same subject, 5 years, I could become an expert. And I had such a craving to learn how to lead because I had come to the conclusion at a very young age that everything rises and falls off leadership. Amy was doing such a nice job doing some kind of pre-teaching on that. And I'm so proud of you, Amy, for being one of our certified coaches. I think we have 63,000 certified coaches in every country in the world. We have the largest coaching country in the world. Anyway, and so I was so, it just makes me proud when I see one of my coaches and see them do so well. But I'm 25, and I heard Earl Nightingale ask this question, and it was the potential question: how far do you think you can really go? And he said, if you spend 1 hour a day every day for 5 years, he said you can become an expert on whatever that subject is. And I said to myself, I want to become an expert on leadership. And so I literally did what Earl Nightingale said. I spent an hour every day on leadership. I would read about leadership, I would talk to leaders, I would do leadership projects, I would ask leadership questions, I would study leadership. Every day I did it now. I was very committed to it. But I was committed to the timeline. The magic he gave me was 5 years. He said in 5 years, you can become an expert in leadership. And so I started off my personal growth, my own personal development. I started off with a timeline. I started off asking myself very simply, how long will it take? Well, he said 5 years and I can become an expert in leadership. And so every day while I'm doing my hour on leadership, I'm saying, well, how long will it take? And 5 years, and then I finished here, and then 4 years and 3 years. And I was kind of like Mr. Cape Canaveral, getting ready to take off. But it's so interesting. Every day I'm asking myself, well, how long will it take? 5 years, 4 years, 4.5, 3.5. And one day in my personal growth journey, I stopped asking the question, how long will it take? Now let me tell you what caused that change. What caused that change was personal growth. I was beginning to become a good leader. I was beginning to gain influence with people. I was beginning to have people want to join my team. I was beginning to have people who were signing up and getting committed. And all of a sudden I realized I'm becoming a better leader. Now, the moment that I realized I was growing, the moment I realized I was becoming a better leader, I stopped asking, how long will it take? Because it's not a relevant question anymore. Once you start growing, you're going to a new level. And now the question is not, how long will it take? The question is, how far can I go? I mean, what is my potential? Now, you have to understand, I've never asked a question, how long will it take, since I was about 27 and a half. Because I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And by the way, that expert stuff at the end of 5 years, that was a trick. Because at the end of 5 years, I was growing as a leader. And in fact, I started off as a pastor. I had, at the age of 28, literally 20 miles from right here. At the age of 28, I had the 10th largest church in America. And I'm just a kid. But you see, once you start learning, once you start growing, once you start becoming successful, you don't ask how long will it take anymore, because it's not a prison sentence. You ask, how far can I go? Now I'm 79, and I'm still asking the question, how far can I go? I don't know. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still curious. This is huge. I haven't hit my potential yet. I don't know how far I can go. So when I give you that potential question, how far can you go? I have no clue, but I know this, you can go a lot further than you've gone so far. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. My name is John, and I'm your friend.
Amen.
And you can trust me on this. I'm going to make sure, if you're in that mentoring group, I am going to give you my 100% best shot. I'm going to make sure that I give you everything you need to know so you know what to do. And Amy is right, there's a huge gap between what you know and what you do. Knowledge will not make you successful and take you to the top. Action with that knowledge will help you. You gotta act on it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the point being that it was a trick when he said I'd become an expert in 5 years on leadership, because after 5 years, I wasn't an expert on leadership, but I was a better leader. And I was a growing leader. And I was having success in leadership. Here's what I want to hear. See, I'm still not an expert. I'm named the #1 leadership expert in the world. I've read more material on leadership than any person who's ever lived in the history of the world. But by the way, that's not that big of a deal. You just have to be old to do that. If you're not old, in fact, when I'm going around getting some pictures, one of you sweet Plexus lady, she came up and said, I started reading you when I was in high school. And she looked 70 to me. Oh, she did. But I all the time, people say, well, my grandparents started giving me your book. And I look at it and say, oh my gosh, but now here's this expert, here's the fallacy of expert. I'm not an expert today. I'm a very good leader, and I really can help you learn how to lead really well, but I'm not an expert on it. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. You see, here's what happens when you start growing. The more you know you don't know. And the more you know you don't know, the more you know you need to know more. And the moment that you need to know more, you know that you don't know all that you need to know. And if you don't need all that you need to know, and you can't tell everybody what they need to know, you're not an expert. And I'm not an expert. I'm your friend.
Right.
And I've taken this journey. And I know what it's like to develop personal growth capacity. I know what it's like. And I know how to help people develop it. And there's only one reason I'm here, to help you grow. People ask me all the time, when are you going to retire? I'm not going to retire. Why would I retire? Retiring is for old people. You retire and you die. That doesn't seem that exciting to me. People say, well, why are you still in the game? I tell you why I'm still in the game. I'm in the game because of you. The only reason I'm here today is because of you. Because you have potential. And all you need is a mentor, a guide, a friend, somebody that cares, somebody that's good at what they do, somebody that knows the journey, has been on the journey, has done the journey. All you need is somebody to come alongside of you. Because every one of you have God-given potential that you've not yet developed. You've not reached your potential. You've not had your best day. You've not had your brightest hour. And I know that. And I'm here because I want to take you to that best day. I want to take you to your brightest hour. I want you a year from now, after being mentored by me, saying, oh my gosh, I want you to grow so much in the next year that a year from now, you'll have to introduce yourself to yourself.
Love that.
You'll just have to, oh my gosh, I don't know you. Tell me about it. How did you become such a wonderful leader? And you'll say, well, I have a friend, his name's John. And he helped me. Because that's the only reason we're here. There's the only reason Mark's here. The only reason Aaron's here. We're only here to do mentoring with you because we believe in you, and we believe that you have not yet reached your potential, but we believe that you have somebody to help you. It's a game changer. And I'm here to help you. And I'm here to tell you a year from now, you will not be the same person. In fact, you won't maybe have to introduce yourself to yourself, because I kind of feel you'll still kind of know yourself. But there's a whole bunch of people that know you that'll have to be reintroduced to you. Because you're a brand new person now. You're living on a whole new level. You're saying things, doing things, thinking things, and seeing success in areas that you have never seen before. And that is life-changing. So the question today for you is very simple. Did you only come this far, only to come this far?
No.
I watch people with a rival mindset, and I want to walk up to them and I want to say, my name is John, I'm your friend. Why are you so happy where you are? Why are you so complacent? Why are you so, well, look what we've done. Look what, I am never thrilled about what I've done, and I think I've done quite a bit. I'm thrilled about what I'm doing. I'm thrilled about what I'm going to do. But I watch people get very kind of, I don't know, get in what I call a satisfied, happy club. And they just kind of sing kumbaya and talk about what they've done. And I want to walk up to them and I'd say, would you rather talk about where you're going, what you're going to do, how much higher you're going to climb on this mountain. And so, I don't think you have come this far in Plexus just to come this far.
Amen.
So the question for you is the question I ask myself. It's the great question. This is the potential question. How far can I go? I don't know how far I can go, but I know you can go farther than you're going now.
Yes.
So look at your neighbor and say, you can go farther than you're going right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hold it. It was a simple question. It should take 3 seconds. I love it. You're saying, well, oh my gosh, and now you're telling me how to do it, where to go, and how to get there. And you're saying that this is the reason I brought you here. Why you think I'm here with you right now? I mean, hello. But here's what we know. We all know. How many of you believe that you have greater potential than what you have yet touched in your life? We all do. And now here's what I want you to also to see the real big picture. It's wonderful when you can go far, and you can all go further than you've gone. You've got much higher level of potential. Now, but let me give you the big picture, because this is the big picture. You got to ask yourself the question: who benefits when I go far? That's the question nobody asks. They ask, well, how far can I go? And they get all wrapped up in self. And the question I want you to, the big question is, well, who benefits when you do go far?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you who benefits. You benefit. Your family benefits.
Others.
The people in your company benefit. Your community benefits. The moment you reach your potential, you have more to offer other people that is life-changing to other people. So when you get better, because you're a leader, others get better. See, if you're just a follower, when you get better, you just get better. But when you're a leader, when you get better, your team gets better. Your family gets better. I'm living an incredible life of adding value to literally millions of people. And it all happens because I committed myself to ask the question, not only how far can I go, but who benefits when I go far. And there are going to be all kind of beautiful people in your life that you care for and you love that will go farther because you went further. But remember, they will only go as far as you. So you are the potential, not only of your life, but you're the potential of their life.
Right.
So how do I get on this potential journey? How do I get on this potential path? What do I have to do to answer the question, how far can I go? And I'm just going to give you some real practical stuff now. This is where you take notes, and this is where you learn, and this is where you apply it, and this is where you say, I'm so glad Charles is here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. And number one, if you want to take this potential journey, this how far can I go? Incredible question. Number one, I am aware of the 3 pillars of potential. The reason I've been on this journey now, I'm 79, I started at 29, so my gosh, that's what's that, 54 years? Yeah, I mean, I was on this journey before you were a gleam in your mother's eye. Okay, now, don't miss this. I'm aware there are 3 potential pillars that I want you to understand. And the first, and this comes out, I wrote a book called No Limits. And the book No Limits is an incredible, it's a book about how to reach your personal growth potential. It's a personal potential type of book, okay? And in this book, very simply, I say there are 3 pillars of potential. Number 1, you have to grow in your awareness. We cannot fix what we don't know. And having awareness is so essential for your personal development and growth. If you're not aware of the things that you need to work on in your life, you don't work on them. If you're not aware of the things that are going to help you get better, you can't get better. Awareness, the ability, and I don't think that we are naturally self-aware. I don't think I'm naturally self-aware. I think my awareness comes from people who've spoken into my life. Because we all have blind spots in our life. We all have things that we don't see well or quickly or easily. And so I'm going to help increase your awareness. You're going to become much more aware of leadership and what's involved in leadership and how that you can do the things that will help you to be a better leader. So awareness it's kind of foundational. When you know yourself, you can grow yourself. But you can't grow yourself if you don't. So I want to help you grow in awareness. That's the first pillar of your potential. The second one is you have to develop your strengths. We got to find out what you're good at. Because whatever you're good at is what you got to keep doing. Because it's in your strengths that you build your business. It's in your strengths that you develop the credibility to lead very well. Not in your weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. We all have things that we don't do well. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the things that you could do much better because you already do them pretty good right now. We've got to develop your strengths. And the third thing, if I grow in my awareness and if I develop my strengths, thirdly, I got to make the right choices. The right choices. When you can do those three things, be very aware of where you are and what you need to work on as a leader, and if you can find out what your strengths are, what I do well, and then you go and say, now with that I've got to make choices. That's why I wrote a book a few years ago called Talent is Never Enough. Because I know all kind of talented people, they're not successful at all. And I look at them and say, why don't they succeed? Because they don't make the right choices. There is a choice you have to make in everything you do, so keep in mind that in the end, the choice you make makes you. Choices are so essential. So we're going to talk to you, we're going to help you in this mentoring program to be aware, to find your strengths, and make good choices. Number two, isn't that simple? Isn't that just simple and practical? Okay. Number two, the second part of my potential journey path that I'm taking is I continually invest in my personal growth. And I've already talked a little bit about personal growth. I'm going to hang with you just a little bit more now, because if you came up here and you and I were sitting around this table, it's just the two of us, we were having maybe breakfast together, whatever. And you said to me, John, what's the secret of your success? I mean, if there's really a secret, I think that's just kind of a joke. Because there's no secret to success. I'll tell you everything you need to know to be successful, okay? I'm not trying to hide anything from you. It's not like some life is trying to hide some secret out there for you. You just can't figure it out. But if you said, what's the secret of your success? I would say, I've been committed for 55 years to personal growth and develop myself. I'm an intentional personal growth person. And it happened because I had a breakfast 18 miles down Route 33 at the Holiday Inn in Lancaster, Ohio. I had breakfast with a guy named Kurt Kampmeyer, who was my mentor. And he asked me, what's your plan for personal growth? I didn't have a plan for personal growth. Nobody said I should have a plan for personal growth. It never entered my mind I needed a plan for personal growth. I just went to work and tried to do my best. And then he changed my life by saying, your personal growth cannot be accidental, it has to be intentional. What he told me was very simple. You can get older automatically. Just keep breathing. But you can't get better automatically. If you're going to get better, you have to be intentional. And that day changed my life, because that mentor, that's why mentoring is so important to all of us. That mentor that day, Kurt Kampmeyer, just down the road, talked to a kid and said, if you're going to grow, you're going to have to be doing growth on purpose. And I said, okay, I got to figure out my personal growth plan. I got to figure out what that is. What does that look like? What does that mean in my life? And what we're going to do is we're going to help you form a personal growth plan. And one of the personal growth, you've got to have what I call growth experiences. And mentoring, this monthly mentoring that we're going to do with you, is a personal growth experience. And I will teach, for example, for over 40 years, every month I have what I call a learning lunch. Every one of you can do this. This is very simple. What does that mean, I have a learning lunch? What it means is every month I call somebody and ask if I can go buy their lunch. And they have one qualification. They're better than me, bigger than me, faster than me, smarter than me, more successful than me. And I say, can I buy your lunch? I want 90 minutes of your time. I buy their lunch. And I ask them 7 questions. And the 7 questions, while they're eating food, I'm getting personal growth food. I'm feeding my soul, I'm feeding my mind, Now, I've done this for over 40 years, and every one of you can start doing this tomorrow. Every one of you. I'm going to challenge you, start having learning lunch, and I ask them 7 questions. There are 7 questions I ask them. I'll give you my 7, okay? I'm not saying these should be your 7. You may think of a better one than I had, okay? If you think of a better one, give it to me. Well, now, I'll change mine and give you credit when I write a book. No royalties, just credit. Get too excited about it. But 7 questions, and I've done this for over 40 years. I've asked this hundreds of times. Here are the questions. What's the greatest lesson you ever learned? Why do I ask that question? I'm asking what the greatest lesson they've ever learned, that question right now. Because I wanted to find what is the catalyst to their success. Because the greatest lesson that you ever learned is the greatest lesson you've ever learned.
Right.
And it helped you to be who you are today. The second question is, what are you learning right now? Oh my gosh. What are you learning right now that's bringing growth in your life and change in your life and vitality to who you are? I asked the first question for wisdom. I asked the second question for passion. What are you passionate about? What are you learning right now? The third question is, how has failure shaped your life? Because I have discovered that every person that has been highly successful has been shaped by failure. Failure is a great teacher. I have a book, it just came out. It just literally has come out. And I want you, if you don't have it, to get it. It came out like 3 weeks ago. It's called How to Get a Return on Failure. How to get a return on failure. Just trust me. I've written 3 books on failure. It's a spiritual gift in my life. And this is my best book on it. I'll if I get a chance, I might throw a couple thoughts out at you a little later. But how has failure shaped your life? Because what I have found is our life is shaped to the good by adversity.
Right.
When we respond well to it. The fourth question, who do you know that I should know? That's the great networking question. That's led me to incredible experiences of meeting unbelievable people that have helped me. The fifth question is, what have you read that I should read? What are you reading that I should read? And when they tell me, I say, now, why would that help me? And why did that help you? Because maybe they're reading something that I really don't need to read, but I'm trying to figure it out. All of the books I buy, and I don't go to bookstores, so I don't need to. I just ask that question, and people tell me what to buy. They tell me, well, this is what I'm reading. This is how it helped me. And then what have you done that I should do? What experience have you had? I will admit to be an experienced junkie. And what have you done? When I was 27, I asked Ron Woodrum, I did that. What have you done that I should do? And he said, I have visited every presidential library in America. And he said, you love leadership and you love history. You ought to do that. I said, I want to visit every presidential library in America. And I've visited every presidential library in America. And I go for a whole day. And I read and I think and write and ponder. And I've been to most presidential libraries 2, 3, 4 times. And it's just an experience, but it's an experience that brought growth to me. What have you done that I should do? And then the last question I ask is how can I serve you?
Yeah.
What can I do for you now? You just gave me 90 minutes, you deposited in my life. Now what can I do for you? And they always take it, that's always the last question, because how do I say thanks? How do I express gratitude to somebody? I asked that question recently, how can I serve you? And he said, let me have a learning lunch with you. And let me ask you the same questions. And literally the next month, we flipped it, and he asked me the 7 questions. I was really good on those questions. I mean, when you've asked him for 40 years, you're just stinking good. You're just good. But wasn't that fun? How can I serve you? He said, well, wait, I want to flip the table. I want to ask you those 7 questions. So now we're learning how to get this potential journey really under our belt, okay? And I'll give you, you got to become aware of the 3 pillars of potential. You got to become aware. You got to develop your strengths. You got to just absolutely make the right choices. Then continually invest in personal growth. Number 3, the third thing I do really well, to keep growing is I maximize my mentoring. Let me just say this. There are a lot of ways to grow in your life to really reach your potential. But the greatest way to grow is to be mentored by people that are very good. The greatest way. Here's what mentoring does for you. It reduces the timeline for you to reach your potential because you talk to people that have reached their potential. I don't like to use the word shortcut because shortcut usually means I don't put in effort, and I don't like, so shortcut isn't really a good phrase for this, but what it does allow you to do, for example, if you qualify at Plexus for me to mentor you this next year, here's what I'll do. In 1 year's time, I'll give you 3 or 4 years of growth experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In other words, I'll just help you get there quicker. And in fact, I would just say this: if you're not mentoring to me, if you have some pretty good giftedness, you probably would get there. It's not that you have to have me to get there. It's just that you have to have me to get there quicker, and you have to have me to get there better. That you have to have me to get there in more of a sound, successful way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I have just committed myself to being mentored. I'm still mentored. I'm still being mentored, and people say, "What? You mean you still are having people mentor?" Yes, I'm still, and I love my mentors. Most of them have passed away, and in fact, I have a talk that basically says that you could never replace your mentors.
Right.
The mentors I've had in my life when they passed away, they're not replaceable. What they did for me, what they did for me, what they did in me, they live in me. I tell you this, you can't replace your mentors, but if you have a good mentor, they'll live with you forever. Does that make sense? And they do live for, in fact, just last Thanksgiving, one of my very first mentors, I affectionately call him E.T., he literally started mentoring me when he was in the 20s. He's 93 now. And in staying close to him and being close to him, he went into a senior citizens complex, and I could tell that he was starting to probably lose a little bit of his mental capacity. And so I told Margaret, I said, I got to go see him. Because with my mentors, I have gone to almost every one of them at a certain stage in their life when maybe they were about to leave. And I've gone to thank them. And I can tell you some of the most warm, incredible stories of me sitting down with people who have poured into my life and gratefully thanking them for what they've done. So we were in the hotel the morning. We were going to go to the senior citizens complex to see E.T. And I had my iPhone out. Margaret looked at the iPhone and she said, "You're writing down the lessons he taught you, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing." And we sat 18 between us. And I said, "E.T., you started mentoring me 52 years ago. And here are the lessons that you taught me." And I would give him a lesson, and I would talk to him about how it helped me. I'd get up, give him a big hug, and sit down. For an hour, I went through 10 lessons he taught me. And when it was done, I embraced him and told him how much I loved him and who would be with him. And what he's done for me. And the people that own the senior citizens complex are friends of ours too. So they wanted to show us it was a beautiful complex, and they wanted to show us that. So I left him in his room to take a little tour. And of course my heart was back there thinking of him. So we're going down the hallway with our friends to take a little tour. And all of a sudden I felt a hand on my shoulder. And I stopped, and it was E.T. And he came up and he put his hand on my shoulder. He started walking down the aisle, and he said, I just thought we'd do this one more time.
Oh.
Listen to me. I am who I am today because there were people that cared enough for me and loved me enough that they said, I will invest in you.
Right.
You deserve to have people invest in you, and then you must serve them by maximizing your potential. I'm here to tell you I'm going to give you a piece of Maxwell for the next year. You can have it. I'll give you everything that I know. I'll give you my best shot. I want to do that. You're worthy of that. You are a person of worth. You were created for greatness. And I want to help you get there. But always remember, in the process of me helping you get there, don't ever forget. My name's John. And I'm your friend.
Right. Amen.
That's what matters. Because when you have people that care, and you have people that are competent, they can change your life. Now, obviously, I'll give it my best shot. And I'm always asking you this, you've got to do the same thing. You got to give it your best shot. First of all, you got to earn it. You got to get in here. There's no such thing as a free ride.
That's right.
You know, I have people every once in a while, they'll come to me, they'll say, would you sponsor me? I said, no, I don't want to sponsor. Here's the thought. Sponsor yourself.
There you go.
But listen to me. When you bet on you, I'll bet on you.
Right.
But I'm not betting on you first. I'm not sponsoring you first. You want to be in this mentoring program? Get off your butt. Get off. You know, we're supposed to leave our footprints in the sand of time, not our footprints in the sand.
Right.
Huh? Yeah. And when we get to know each other, I'll tell you to get off your ass. Since it's Sunday and I've got a little Christian perspective, get off your butt. Would you just get off your butt? Look at your neighbor and say, you're going to have to get off your butt. Tell him that. Get off your butt.
Hey, we're literally off of our butts. Just saying. You're ahead of the game.
Number four. Isn't this fun? Are you having a good time? Huh? Are you learning something? And number four, we're talking about how do you get down this potential path? How do we take this journey? The fourth thing I do is I follow my heart. And the reason I follow my heart is because my heart knows. And I learned a long time ago, your heart knows.
Right.
Follow it. Now listen carefully, because this can get very subjective, and this can get a little syrupy. And I don't want it to be. Listen to me. When do you follow your heart? You follow your heart after you have awareness. You follow your heart after you're starting personal growth. You follow your heart after being mentored. You don't. I run into people. I'm hearing him say this now, and it's starting to bother me a little bit. I'm hearing people say, "Just find out what you're passionate about and follow your passion to be successful." And I'm looking at you and saying, "That's not true." My name's John. I'm your friend. You can be passionate about something you're not good at. If you're not good at it, I don't care how much fire you have. You won't go anywhere with it. Let me just say this. If you're something you're really passionate at and you're not good at, don't make it a career. Make it a hobby. You don't get paid for a hobby. I'm passionate about golf. I'm not any good at it. But I'm passionate about golf. But I don't get paid for it. It's not my career. You follow me?
Right.
So when I hit a bad shot, it doesn't bother me. I didn't get paid for it. If I do bad in leadership, that should bother me. You follow me?
Yeah.
So when people say follow your heart, it can get really syrupy and soupy and hypey and I don't know, just kind of really kind of. I watch people kind of follow stupid sometimes. and I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to. So when I say follow your heart, I'm saying you get the other basics under your belt, then start following. Don't just jump and say wee. You know, you may say wee and then you go wow. No. And passion doesn't guarantee success. But I will say this, without passion, you can't be successful. I can still remember going to my publisher, and I told him I wanted to write leadership books. And he said, you don't want to write leadership books. I said, why? He said, because only 8% of the readers will buy a leadership book. You'll miss 92% of your audience. But I said, I love leadership, and I'm good at leadership, and I want to help people lead. And they told me, don't do leadership books. If you do leadership books, they won't sell.
Huh.
$40 million books later. I just have good news for you. They sell. when I started writing leadership books, I like lists. I just love lists. I love lists. And they said, don't put lists in books. People want lists in books. But I said, I like lists. In fact, one of my favorite things is to have a list. You know, and on the top of my list is to have a list. And they said, but you just understand, they don't like lists. Yeah, every book I put lists in, I do leadership. Follow your heart. When I was 65 when I started my coaching company, people said, don't start the coaching company, you're already 65. Good Lord, it's too late in life. And then they said, besides that, I don't need a coaching company. I already had other companies. I had a good income. I don't need it. I didn't need a coaching company. I didn't start a coaching company. I needed a coaching company. I started a coaching because people needed a coaching company.
Right.
A good one. And so I said, well, we'll start it. And now we're the biggest coaching company in the entire world. And I started at 65 and I'm 79, and I wouldn't have the biggest coaching company in the world at 79 if I wouldn't have started at 65. I don't know how old you are, it doesn't matter. My father was 92 when we had lunch one day, and he looked at me and he said, son, I've been thinking about it. He's 92, he said, my greatest days are still ahead of me.
Right.
He's 92. I know people 22 who can't say that.
Right.
Passion. Passion is so important. Okay, number 5. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Can I maybe do an extra 3 or 4 minutes of teaching? Because
yes.
It's all right, and then we'll do Q&A. I mean, just because this is just good, and you're not getting it all. Now, number 5 is I have an abundance mindset.
Yes.
I don't have a scarcity mindset.
Right.
You see, the one thing that all leaders have in common, regardless of country or culture, there's only one thing that all leaders have in common, and that is very simple. They see more than others see, and they see before others see. They see more, a bigger picture they see before. They see it more quickly. Now, why does that happen? Because they have an abundance mindset. They have an abundance mindset. You can, and by the way, if you have a scarcity mindset, whatever mindset you have, that's the mindset you have is the world that you live in.
Ooh.
So your mindset determines your world. So you can be sitting beside somebody, and one has an abundance, one has a scarcity, and you're in 2 different worlds. Now you're sitting a foot apart, but you're in 2 different worlds. And a scarcity mindset is extremely limited. And the picture is small, and it's you basically got to do something for you because there's not enough room to do for something for someone else. And abundance mindset is huge. And I can tell you so many things that help an abundance. So I'll just give you one quick thought. It's very simple. I always believe there's an answer. So when people they get perplexed, they say, well, I think I'm at a dead end here. I just don't think there's an answer. I want to walk in their life and say, my name's John, my friend. And let me tell you something, there's an answer. But let me just say this. If you don't think there's an answer, there's not an answer for you. Understand, what you think determines the reality of your life. So if you think, when somebody says, well, that can't be done, I look up and say, well, you're right, you can't do that. But there's always an answer. Even when I don't know. See, I didn't say I always know the answer, did I? I didn't say that. I just said there's always an answer.
Right.
There are a lot of things I still don't have answers for. But it doesn't bother me because there's an answer. And if I know that there's an answer, it keeps me in the game. I'll find the answer. Now let me say this. When you find the answer, this is the big miss. Sometime I'm going to do a teaching just on this. When people find the answer, so many times they stop because they found the answer. Let me tell you something. When you find the answer, I want you to know that there's a better answer that you haven't found yet.
Right.
So the first answer is not the final answer. It's just the answer that gets you started. Please don't miss this. Because I watch people get an answer and they get just fat and happy. And you don't want to do that. So when you find an answer, now you're on action. So there's always an answer. There's always a better answer. And I'm going to just say this: there's more than one answer. Very, very seldom do you have the only way to do something. I was so naive when I was a young leader, and when I was talking to you, I was 27, 28, I had the 10th Lord church, and I'd go around telling people, here's the way that you go to church. And then I ran into somebody that had a bigger church than me, and they didn't do it like me at all. And I thought, oh my gosh. Oh my, hey, they're bigger and better than I am. And I got amused at, can I tell you something? I hope you get amused at yourself a lot. Because you should. Because I have had to laugh at myself continually of all the stupid things that either I did or thought that just absolutely weren't going to take me anywhere, but I just bought into it for a while until I had somebody help me. You follow me? Somebody come alongside and say, hey, you're really a passionate guy, a little stupid, but quite passionate. And it's okay, it's okay. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get there. And it's, you know, so let me give you number 6, okay? This is so, my gosh, this is so important. If you're going to have this unbelievable potential, if you're going to ask the question and find the answer of how far can I go, I have to give up to go up. Listen to me very carefully here. The greatest challenge of tomorrow's success is today's success. And I know that for a fact. That there's a tendency for me, for you, for all of us to kind of try to, I don't know what it is about mankind that they want to find the answer. And I want to look at it and say, that is your highest calling to find the answer. Your highest calling is to reach your potential. And once you settle, you settle. And so, during COVID, one of the things I taught a lot during COVID was everything that you need in life that you don't have. Everything that you need, everything I need in life that we don't have. The reason we don't have it is outside of our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. We don't have it because it makes us uncomfortable to get it. We have to jump a fence. We have to change something that's drastic in our life. And so what we do is we don't settle for what we are, we settle for what we care about or what we love or what makes us comfortable in life. And it's all outside of your comfort zone. It just is. Okay, I'll give you the last 3. I just won't have time to teach them, but that's okay. If you're in my mentoring program, you understand?
Yes. Yeah.
If you're in the mentoring program, I'll cover these 2. Okay? No, because if I had time, I would tell you. Number 7, one of the reasons that I've really done well in my growth journey is I prioritize very well. I understand priorities. I understand what I call everyday essentials. Wow. That listen to me, you don't have to do a lot of things to be highly successful. Right. But you got to do the main things to be highly successful. Mm-mm. You don't have to be busy to be highly successful. Busyness, I watch people that are busy and I'm not impressed by how hard you work. I'm impressed with what you're doing. Right. And a few things. When I at 28, when I had 10 worship record, I had reduced church growth down to 4 things. And I said, if I can do these 4 things, and I can teach people to do these 4 things, and we can do them every day, the church will grow. I only did 4 things. And I watched people with complexity, and they had a lot more things going, and they had a lot more activity, and it never impressed me at all. The ability to prioritize. In mentoring this year, I'll teach you the 3 R's. What's required of me, what gives me the greatest return, and what gives me the greatest reward. Requirement, return, reward. Each 3 of those have a place in helping you determine what your everyday essentials are in your life. Number 8, I know how to get a return on failure. Okay, I know how to do that. I know how to take things that don't work out well and turn them into an asset, not a liability. Because we all fail. We all have. I have many. I love when people say, "What was your number 1 failure?" I said, "Dear God, don't make me choose out of thousands." It's not like I had 7 and I can pick them. But I had 7 in a week. You know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual gift, as I said. but I know how to get a return on failure. I'm not going to teach that. The reason I don't need to teach that is because you're getting the book. I'm not giving it to you. You're back into the sponsorship stuff. No, you gotta buy the book. You gotta buy the book.
Yes.
You gotta, I mean, hello? We don't even know each other well. I mean, how free do I get with you on this? Hey, at the end of the year, you may get
There you
one or
go.
two books from me after you spent a year with me and I know you.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Trust you. Then it come on the front end.
Right.
Sponsor yourself.
Right.
Be a big boy, be a big girl. You understand? One of the things you have to learn as a leader, oh my gosh, wait till I teach this year. One of the things that you gotta learn to live, you gotta be able to separate a phrase. What's my phrase? You gotta separate the who? Yeah, see, now that's Erin. She's my contact curator. She also helps an old man. You can't remember. You got to separate your players from your pretenders. In this business, you better figure that out real quick. Because in this business, you get a lot of people along for the ride. And they can hardly wait for you to take them somewhere and do something for them. And they wear you out. So you know how you in this business, how you separate players from pretenders? Very simple. You ask for commitment. Commitment separates. Players won't make commitment. Players want everything for free. They want you to do it for them. They want you to solve their problems. The players, they step right up. They're big boys. They're big boys. They said, I'll take care of this. I'll get it again. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are. And then number 9, the last thing is I develop leaders.
Yeah.
I just, you know, the 2 questions, and then we're going to go to Q&A in 60 seconds, but the 2 questions, I mean, if you and I were sitting down and you said, help me, really, how do I get my leadership potential? The 2 questions I would ask you are very simple. What are you doing to develop yourself?
Right.
And what are you doing to develop others? You got to develop yourself as a leader, and you got to develop others as leaders. Now, fasten your seatbelt. The mentoring program will develop you as a leader. But guess what happens? When I mentor you, I gave you a lesson to teach your team. Oh, happy day.
Right.
Won't it be fun to sit down with your team and say, you know, last month John taught me this.
Yes.
You know, last month, John shared with me how, and I'm going to pass it on to you now.
Right.
No. I am your best friend. I mean, I'm going to develop you and help you develop your players and your team members. Shoot, if you had time, you want to come up here and hug me right now. You just say, he's an old man, and before he dies, I want to give him one hug because he's helping me. Because I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you because you deserve that. I'm not going to help you because I'm wonderful. I'm going to help you because you're wonderful. I'm going to help you go on a level that'll get you there quicker than if you aren't in the program. And I'm so honored that Plexus would give me this opportunity. I'm so honored that Stuart would think. And let me say this. You're blessed to have a leader who wants to develop you as leaders. You're blessed. And that is who Stuart is, and that's what Stuart does. And so I'm here because of Plexus and their kindness to me and asking us to be part of this. And I'm part of the Plexus family. So instead of John C. Maxwell, I'm John P. I'm John Plexus Maxwell. So we're going to go into Q&A, and if you have a question, we have mic runners. I understand, and we got, what do we have? 2 mics? We got 2, or we got more than 2? Okay, we got mic runners, and they're going to come to you. Look at these. Yeah. Just a second. Oh, okay, Eric. Okay, this will be fun. Thank you, Eric. What is it? The title? How far? Oh, okay. I write music and songs, and I had the guy, the biggest writing company in Nashville, has been mentored by my books. And he got hold of me one day and he said, "John, you ought to put some of your books to music." And so I go to Nashville and I sit in the studio with #1 writers. I mean, number one, hit writers. I mean, they're much better than I am. I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid in this world. But I sit in the room with these major players, and I have a statement that is, when you're at the head of the class, you're in the wrong class. And trust me, when I go to Nashville, I'm at the bottom of the class. But we write music. We write music together off of my song. And so Aaron just came up and reminded me, I have about 4 or 5 songs out right now. And you can get them wherever you get songs. I have no clue. See, I have nothing to teach you in this. You know more than I do. But wherever you get your songs, if you go, I have a song called How Far Can I Go? I have 4 or 5 songs, but one of them is on How Far Can You Go? And you'll be very pleased. You'll get, I mean, we're doing really good. I'm a writer that's written books that now is getting ready to have some million sellers and songs. And so you go on and you can find out the 4 songs I've written. But anyway, they're in there. Thank you for that, Aaron. So where do they get their music? Wherever you get you all know how to get your music, don't you? You don't need my help there, do you? I promise you I won't mentor you on how to get music, all right? But just if you go to that, you'll get it. Are we ready? Let's go for Q&A, and I'll do my very, what happens is, you need to give me your name because Erin is over there and she puts your name down and she puts a question. And the reason for that is, out of our mentoring, we won't be able to handle all the questions in a year of mentoring, but I'll start off sometimes, and I'll start my lesson and say, so-and-so asked this question, I'm going to teach this lesson. So it's going to be very plexus, intentionally plexus oriented to help you. Okay, so what's your name?
Okay, my name is Kinley.
Okay.
Okay, I'm losing my voice, I'm sorry. What feedback have you received from a mentor that caused you to change your perspective?
Well, it's a great question. I gave you the illustration down the road when Kurt Kampmeyer asked me if I had a plan for personal growth. I had no plan. Nobody ever taught me about a plan. And I would say that was a catalytic mentoring moment in my life. Elmer Towns, E.T. that I talked about earlier, Elmer Towns would sit down with me when I was in my 20s. He said, let me explain something to you, John. And he taught me the hot poker principle. He said, if you got a fireplace, you can put that poker right there in the fire and it stays hot. You pull it away from the fire, it gets cold. He said, you got to get around people to keep you hot.
Yes.
It's what Mark teaches. Mark teaches a wonderful thought on the power of proximity. And so, I could spout, that's a great question. I could give you 50 life-changing times that a mentor spoke into my life, and all of a sudden, the light came on, and the light wasn't on until they spoke to my life. That's a great question. Next one.
All right, we've got one over here.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Rob Robbins.
Rob, you kind of sound like God.
Rob Robbins.
When I go to heaven, it doesn't sound like that. I'm going to say, where am I?
I'm your father.
You guys are like being asked to, aren't you?
So when I was a kid, I used to go to the library. I'd pick a subject and read. So the first one, as a kid, I remember was cowboy. So I checked out all the cowboy books. So what was the first thing you remember that sparked your interest that you wanted to look into? And what's the last thing, the most recent, that sparked your interest that you wanted to investigate?
Okay, the first and last thing that sparked my interest in what was it?
What made you curious? It made you want to look and investigate or...
Okay. I think I've got you now. Thanks, good question. The thing that would... Okay, let me just say this. I'm trying to put this on you, so relax, take a pill. I'm a person of faith, okay? And that's... The reason I have to say that to you is when I was 5 years old, I was in my backyard. And I was just by myself. And I felt 2 things from God. I was special, and I was loved.
Yes.
And
Amen.
I will promise you, a 5-year-old kid still inside of me.
Yeah.
Special. I feel that gave me what I would call this inner strength that has helped me do things in my life that probably I could not have done if I didn't feel I was special and I was loved. And the last, you're asking the last thing. Is he asking the last thing? Oh, to spark my curiosity? I never have a week in my life of which I don't have somebody light my curious fire. Yesterday we were in Indianapolis, and there was a guy that I had talked to a month ago when I had done a conference, and Mark wasn't with me, and I said, Mark, I can hardly wait for you to meet this guy and talk to this guy, because what he's doing is extremely interesting to me, and maybe we can sometimes serve him or help him, or maybe sometime we can partner with him in something. And I could hardly wait for Mark to get over to Indianapolis, where I was speaking yesterday, to meet the guys. And in fact, I said, Mark, don't go in while I teach today. You go get somewhere in the corner and you talk. I could honestly say there's never a week that I don't meet somebody that I want to ask more questions. In fact, let me just say this. If I could have 15 minutes with any one of you in this room, just you and me, here's what I know. I've got to ask a few questions to find this. But here's what I know. Every one of you in this room has something to teach me that if I learned it from you, I would be a better person. Every one of you.
Right.
You know something right now that I don't know. And I will have to tell you, there burns within me. I have no satisfaction in what I know. And yet I know a lot. I only have satisfaction in what I can know. I just have a yearning desire. I have a yearning to learn. And if I think you have something to teach me, guess what? If I see you and I have the right questions and right attitude, you'll teach me something. But if I think you have nothing to teach me, you won't teach me anything because I won't be receptive to learning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so I love that question. I don't think everybody's ever asked me that question, Rob. But I love that question, and I would just say that that's where I am right now. And so if you ask me that question next week, I'll have something else to tell you, because I'm continually having a desire. I want to die serving. I want to die leading. I want to die learning. I want to die giving. When I die, I want to be in the game. I want to be in the game. I don't want to be talking about the game I was in. I want to be in the game. Next question. Good question. Right here.
Also, John, you sound like God to us when you talk. So I hope God sounds like you. I'm Christina, and I have a question. So, players and pretenders. In this business, how do we separate the emotional connection with a person who maybe starts as a player, becomes a pretender, but still has all the same answers? Like, maybe can talk the talk.
Yeah. They start as a player, but they cease being a player.
Yeah, or maybe they sometimes revive as a player, and then they're a pretender. What's our role as the leader with someone who morphs between?
Such a great question. And every one of you face that. I mean, every one of you got people. When I said players and pretenders and commitments to separator, every one of you are thinking of people. Every one of you, you're thinking, there's a player, and there is, oh my gosh. And what happens is you have, first of all, I can give you a very good answer to that question, but you got to understand, it took me a long time to be able to give you this answer, because I love people, and I really think the best in people, and that's a real disadvantage. Now, please keep loving and believing. But when you love and believe in people, you just say, well, they're not quite ready, or they're going to get there, right? Oh my gosh, and here's there was a day I realized what you say doesn't matter. You have to do it.
Right.
You've got to, that little slogan you got on your wall, you've got to turn it into a walk. You got to walk what you say. One of my incredible mentors was John Wooden, and he would tell his players, "Don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do."
Right.
And he said, "John, the only the only way I can lead people is based upon what their actions are, not what their statements are. And the day I learn to understand that and say, it doesn't matter what you say, you're in the meeting, and we're going to reach this goal, and we're going to have this, and so, but that's worthless words. Show me. You gotta show me. And when they start showing you, you then come in and reinforce the action. It's the action that makes the difference. It's not the intention. That's why I wrote the book Intentional Living. It's a great question. Does that help you? So,
Yes.
so divorce yourself from the feeling. It's not easy because
Right.
you feel
Feelings aren't
really
nice.
good about people. You really, but just you've got to let what they do be the determining factor of whether they're player or pretender, not what
Right.
they say or how you feel about them. Great
Correct.
question.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay, right there. That's yes, wherever you are. Next.
Hi, I am Jill, and I am so glad that you're my friend.
I am. We're buddies.
And I would love to ask you 7 questions, but I will start with your number 1. What's the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
I have a feeling you'll be in the mentoring group. I just got a feeling you're gonna make it. The greatest lesson that I've ever learned is that life is not about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about others.
Right.
So why do we spend so much time on us?
Right.
Because let me explain to you. The greatest challenge I have in leadership isn't leading you, Jen. It's leading me. I have to be the person that I want my people to be. I have to do the things I want my people to do.
Right.
And so therefore, the day I realized that if I lived my life for others, everything that I needed in life, I would receive.
Right.
But if I led my life for myself, then whatever I received would never benefit anybody else. And so the world is much bigger than John. I tell people all the time, don't take yourself so serious. Dear God, relax. You ought to laugh at yourself more. Everyone else is. And and let me say this. But by the way, in the beginning, I took myself too serious. So you understand, that was the greatest lesson I learned. I learned a lesson that in the beginning, I thought it was all about me, and I thought it was all about my leadership, and I thought about, I'm going to change people's lives. I had a whole bunch of stupid things I thought. And one day I realized it's not about me.
Right.
And it was a major change in my life, because your perspective is different when it's not about you. And what I have found is incredible is, I have so many wonderful things in my life now. And it was all because I just turned and focused on others and tried to help them. And it came to me. And there's something beautiful about just giving and serving and loving and then watching how the good things come. They come back. They come back. But I really think when people show so much concern about, well, I'm going to make this decision, what will people think? I want to walk into life and say, first, when people say, oh, well, what do people think of me? I said, you would be very disappointed if you knew they don't really think of you very much. I mean, I don't know why people kind of think that the world is going to fall if they mess up. Let me explain something. There's a day I'm going to die. Let me say this. When I die, nothing's lost. The world continues. The principles I put in people, they'll live. But I just think taking yourself too serious. I think you take your mission serious. I take my calling serious. I take what I'm doing today serious. But I don't take myself serious. And when you don't, you can very quickly say, well, I was wrong, or I didn't do that very well, or I wish I could have this over. We were with Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, the other day, and he said the hardest words a leader ever says is, I were wrong. And then he said, but they were the most important words he says. I thought that was pretty huge. And you can't say that to take. I just watch people. I just watch it, and I can see a person. I can look at a person in 5 minutes if I'm with them, tell you if they take themselves too serious. I can see that so quickly in people's life. Just relax. Just take a pill. Here's what's going to happen. There's a day I'm going to die. Everybody's going up, just, oh my, amazing, all that stuff that they say at, services. But anyway, 30 minutes later, they're going to be at a welcome center. There's going to be a lot of food. And the biggest question 30 minutes after they bury me is, where's the potato salad? So let me tell you, in 30 minutes you lose out to potato salad. Now, once you understand that, how can you take yourself that serious? Really? Kind of, okay? Good question. Next one.
Hey, John, we got one right here.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, John. My name is Becky.
Hi, Becky.
I feel a little tender and embarrassed to ask you this question. As a leader, what is the antidote for exhaustion and burnout?
Well, first of all, let me ask everybody, have any of you ever been exhausted? Have you ever felt burned out? Have you anybody ever wanted to kind of give up leading because you're tired of pulling people when they don't want to go anywhere? Now, the reason I ask that question is you're not the only one that feels that. Everybody feels that.
Right.
You got to understand, leaders are not immune from that. We work hard. We serve. We give. There's times when we need a timeout. And there are times we need to relax and take care of ourselves and recreate and do all those things. So I always say this about leadership. All leaders feel what you feel. The difference is this. Leaders do what is right, and then they feel good.
Yeah.
Followers want to feel good before they do what is right.
Right.
Don't get the two confused.
Exactly.
You'll get stuff like this all the time if you're in that mentoring deal. Are you going to work on this mentoring thing? Are you a player or pretender out there, huh?
Player.
But doesn't that make sense? So don't feel. There are times when I'm tired. There's times when I don't want to see anybody. There's times when I'm not sure I like anybody. You understand? Shoot, I love to play golf, and I've done this for a long time, but I used to, this was therapy, when somebody was on my leadership team or in my organization was just giving me problems. They were the pain in the butt. I'd go to the golf course, and on the first tee, I'd write their name on the golf ball. And if the fairway was that way, the woods were that way, I would tee up a name for the woods. And the golfer said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to hit this golf ball." "But you're aiming at the woods." I said, "I know." "But you're not aiming at the fairway." "I know." I said, "I'm going to hit Bob. And Bob's going to go in the woods." And I hear Bob bang his head a dozen times. I hope to never see Bob again. And I would hit, and it was there. You follow me? Okay? And one day I told the guys that they were howling as I'm down the woods. I hit this great tee shot. Ball goes in the woods. Boom, 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 bounce around there. And I feel so good all of a sudden it comes out of the woods. It literally rolls close enough to me that I don't have to take a step. I just reach down. I pick up Bob and put him in a golf club, and I just say, "Son, you can't get rid of him." I said, haven't we all done that? Don't we have a Bob or a Bobette or a Bobby Rita or something? Yeah. Good question. Next question.
What are the core values that make a leader?
What's your name?
My name is Dan Waller.
Nice to
I'm your
meet you.
friend.
What are the core values?
That make a leader.
Well, I love values-based leadership, and I talk a lot about it, and we do a lot about it. The number one quality I would say that a leader needs to have is humility. Because if you're humble, you're teachable.
Yes.
The problem with success is it makes people arrogant.
Yes. Yes.
It just does. In fact, Bill Gates says success is a lousy teacher. It makes people think they can't lose. And when you get that arrogance about you, you lose your learning capacity because you're not wanting to learn. And so I just love to see a leader who's humble. Again, going back to, we had a master class at the headquarters of Delta. I've mentored Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, for probably 25 years. And I had Horst Schulze, Mr. Hospitality, who started Ritz-Carlton, and I had Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta, with these 90 leaders in this master class. And when Ed Bashan, first thing he said about leadership was how grateful he was and how humbling it was to be a leader. And I thought, he understands leadership. But I love that. That's a beautiful quality. I love to see leaders who are who learn and are willing to change. And we were having a great conversation with the three of us last night with Mark, and he said, I'm just so happy to have some time with you because I want to throw some stuff out to ask you. I want you to teach me. I want to ask questions. I want to get your perspective. That's a humble leader. And I like that in a leader's life. When that happens, you'll keep learning, you'll keep growing. And when that doesn't happen, you'll stop learning, stop growing, and then you'll plateau. No doubt about it. Great question. Next question. Yes, over here.
Hi, first I want to say is how blessed are we that we're in this room together? And it's been such an honor.
I feel blessed. I'm glad I'm in here.
It's all
with you.
because of him, right?
Yeah.
Amen.
My question, my name is Demi, by the way. My question is, so I'm sure throughout your life, you know, as a man of faith, doubt has crept in from the enemy. And I'm curious on when those doubts came in of whether you're on the right path or you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're calling, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
How do you battle that, and how do you stay on the right path and not let the doubt creep in too much?
Yeah, well, I think that first of all, if you're leading, you're not only taking people where they've never been before. Honestly, when you're leading, there are times I'm going where I've never been before either. In other words, there are times when I'm saying, I'm in new territory. I've always said that I think part of my success as a leader is that in the earlier years, a lot, but even today, I still consider myself to a certain degree a pioneer. I kind of go where other people haven't gone, and there's something very, I don't know, I can't explain it, so I'm not going to try. But I've never had a great desire to do Simon Says and just kind of follow everybody. It's never bothered me to be alone. It's never bothered me to stand alone. It's never bothered me to jump a fence. But sometimes when you do all those things, you don't know where you're going. And I think that this is where humility comes in. I think with humility, I'm in virgin territory. I don't have all the answers. I think humility with security is a beautiful thing. Not cockiness, not arrogance, but when I'm doing my best, honestly, it's the best I can do. And I think that people deserve that. I also know that sometimes my best is not right. That maybe I made a wrong decision. And what makes a wrong decision really a bad decision isn't that you missed your decision. It's the fact that you stayed with it. And that's where humility comes back in. So there are times when you have to pivot. There are times when you have to say, I just didn't do that right, or that didn't work out right, or I'm going down the wrong path and I've got to get on the right path. I think decision making is overrated. I think decision managing is underrated. I have made a lot of decisions that weren't the best, but because I managed them, I turned them and made them better. So I think the management, which is the daily kind of walking the decision, is more important than the second. But I think we all feel, if I saw a leader who said he never questioned his actions or never doubted his decisions, I would say he was arrogant and naive. I think humanly, we miss. I don't think people even want a perfect leader. I think they want an authentic leader.
Right.
I think they want one that's true and real and honest and vulnerable and open. That's what engages people and draws them to you. Good question. Next one. You're doing really good on the questions. I'm very pleased.
Right over here.
Yes.
Hi, Joanna Miller. How has deep betrayal from a close friend helped you become a better leader?
The first part I didn't get.
How has betrayal from a very
Betrayal?
close friend helped you become a better leader?
Well, in the beginning, betrayal doesn't you become a better leader. It helps become a bitter leader. I mean, be betrayed. I mean, who wants to have people that you thought were on your team and one day you realize they're not on your team, and in fact, they're not sometimes on your team, sometimes they're not even wanting to help you, sometimes they even want to hurt you. And so, in my early years of leadership, I hired a person that I just dearly loved, and I thought his potential was unlimited. And I was young and naive, and so I poured everything I could into him. And I basically said, you know, because I'm young here, I'm stupid. I said, we'll do this together all of our life. And I see a student that all of our life, and 2 years later, I had to fire him. And major betrayal involved in the process. And I can still remember the hurt. In fact, there are some things I never want to forget. Not because it hurts me today, but it helps me today remember how it hurt. And I made a very bad decision off of that. I said, well, I'm never going to let staff members get close to me anymore because I just love this kid and we spent a lot of time together. So I hired 2 more people that year, and both of them I said, you have a job, I have a job, I'll do my job, we'll have a Christmas party, you know. And I kind of kept them at a distance, and I realized what a terrible mistake that was, and what a wrong decision that was. Because I realized that if you keep people at a distance from you, they'll never hurt you.
Right.
But they'll never help you either.
Correct.
So I had to make a decision, and the decision was I will be betrayed as a leader. I will be hurt as a leader. I will have times when leadership stinks. But I will let people come close to me. But it's dead. And when I made that decision, the good news is a lot of people have helped me. The bad news is that there are a few that hurt me. And that's part of leadership. And I just say to you, if you're in leadership, you're going to get hurt. And I say, suck it up, buttercup. You know, because I'll tell you what wears me out. Really wears me out is leaders who complain. You just wear me out. Let me explain something. If you signed up for leadership, it's hard. What part of that don't you understand? Now that you understand that, could we get back into the game? I never saw a person who said, I became very successful by complaining all the time. I became successful by being bitter. That's something that's not compatible. So yes, you just join the leadership club. You're going to get betrayed, you're going to get hurt, it's okay. You're going to get a lot of people who are going to help you. The good always outweighs the bad, but you got the bad. You never said, it's not like all good. In fact, I had a mentor when I was young say to me, there are no 2 good consecutive days in a leader's life. And I just love that. And there have been many times I've said to myself, there are no 2 good consecutive days in a leader's life because I didn't have, sometimes I kind of want 1 good. You know, I'm not even asking for 2 good. I just have, you know, can I have just 1 good day in a leader's life and then I'll go to hell for a while again? You know, can I not just have just 1? You know, 1 good day? Okay, next question.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, my name's Alita. My question is I read in one of your books you said, I'll follow you for 24 hours and I'll know exactly why you are where you are.
That's right.
Which actually terrifies me.
Today matters.
Yeah, today matters. And that kind of terrifies me. I have a lot of kids, and so my question is, when you talk about letting go to the next level, how do you determine what needs to go?
That's a very good question.
Because it can't be the kids, right?
That's why was it Anita?
Alita.
Alita. No, it's Alita. L-A-L.
Alita?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm old and I got hearing aids and I'm deaf. I'm not dumb yet, but I'm deaf. And the reason I was is because kids, and you know what you let go. My first thought says, have we had times when we'd like to let go of our children? Isn't it? I've just said sometimes just, you know, can I pay you to take them for a while? Here, you know, let them get mature. I'll give them back to me when they. But I know you didn't ask it in that light. But let me just say this: the tendency of anybody that serves and cares is to carry too much. We do that because we do it for the right reasons. We serve and we care. So there's a tendency for all of us to get overloaded. I had a staff member I can remember so well, greatly loved, but greatly distracted. And every 3 months, she would come in for about 2 hours, and I'd have her log a couple of weeks of her time. And she would get distracted. She's over there, somebody that honestly she doesn't need to help. but she cares. And so, and I would readjust her schedule. And when it was done, she was always be in tears and give me a hug, and she said, "You just," well, what I helped her is I helped her get rid of a bunch of stuff that she had. But every month she would pick up more stuff. I just knew how she was and who she was, and I would relieve her I would just say this. We go back to those 3 hours. What's required? What gives me my greatest return? What gives me my greatest reward? In the beginning, there are other things required of us that we just have to do because we have to do it. But as we start succeeding, we can sometimes delegate those requirements to someone else. The question you got to ask yourself every day that I have to ask myself is, am I doing the thing that gives me the greatest return? And if I'm not, why am I not? Because when we leave our return area, that's where we make rain. But when we leave our return area, we do good things that don't help us as a leader and don't help our team. So I think there's I didn't have time today. I was going to talk about, of the to-do list. Well, you got to ask yourself on your to-do list, what are the everyday essentials? Just because there's something to do doesn't mean that I should do it. And I learned a long time ago, intentional neglect is a good thing. Peter Drucker he had a great phrase for it, and I can still in a teaching one time. He called it planned abandonment. And he used the word abandonment because he said it's a radical word and you need to hear it with planning. There are things that you are doing that you need to abandon right now. You should never do them again. They're not making the difference that they need to make.
Right.
So hopefully that helps you. What are my everyday essentials? It won't be a lot of things. It'll be just a few things. Okay. I'm sorry. Do I need to take it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, be careful. How are you doing? What's your name? Ryan, nice. Guys, shut up. Brian, give Brian a hand. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, over here. Yes.
Hi, so my name's Emily, and at my age, if I can't fully build my own life, but I want to be successful, what would be your best advice to build my future?
Okay, Emily asked if I can't build my leg.
$15.
Well, first of all, aren't you glad that somebody that's in here is 15 years old? Emily, I think there are tons of people in this room that wish when they were 15, they could be sitting where you're sitting right now.
Right.
And hearing what they're hearing and being in an environment like you're in. So to me, you're already, I have a home teaching that says the fastest person who doesn't win the race is the one who gets started first.
Right.
And when you're 15, you've got a leg up on getting started and started first. So, but there are a lot of things, Emily, you can't control at that age. I understand that. I teach that leadership is influence. Nothing more,
Nothing less.
nothing less. Because that's true.
Right.
Your ability to influence people determines the extent of your leadership. So, when they're 15 years of age, you don't get titles, you don't get positions, you don't get the things that people equate to leadership. But I'm going to give you good advice right now. Intentionally, every day, add value to people.
Yeah.
Every day.
Right.
Do something for others that they notice you're serving them, you're helping them, you have a heart to lift a load for them. Because here's what happens. You gain influence by adding value to people.
Right.
So, you may not have a title, you may not have a position, but if you're a person, Emily, that every day does their best to help people get better, people are going to notice that soon, and they're going to want you around them. And it's going to be your entry card to becoming someday a great leader. Someday you'll have opportunities you don't have now. Someday you'll have control that you don't have now. Someday you'll have privileges that you don't have now. But that doesn't matter. If you do good without those things, think how good you'll be when you get those things. So you start your pattern of behavior at an age of 15, and you practice doing that, and there will be a day that what you stored up will show up.
Right.
Trust me.
Ron over here. Ron, right over here, sir, just to your right.
Good afternoon, good morning, John. Sherry Grant. I'd like to have you speak a little bit more to the everyday essentials. I know you basically a whole book on it and a teaching on it, and I'd like you to speak to it just for a little bit, if you would, for this group.
Sure, you want me to flesh it out a little bit for you? I got that. When I went to my last church in San Diego, I followed the founding pastor that had been there for 33 years. A great man, a wonderful person. But they only had known one pastor. And so when I sat down with the search committee and they were looking at me perhaps as being the next one, which I did become the next one, I realized that their expectations of me was based upon what they only knew. And for example, the pastor that I followed was a great musician. He was an Irish tenor, he was a concert pianist, and before he would preach on Sunday morning, he would sing a song. And he would hit it like a high C. It's like a cello just finished. And then he would preach. Well, after people have been blessed like that, you can say hickory dickory dock. People come back next Sunday. So, watch this. These are professionals, 7, search committee. And one of the questions they asked me is, do you sing before you preach? And I laughed. And I said, no, I don't. I said, if I sing before I preach, nobody will stay here and preach. I'm not any good. But I realized they had a set of expectations for me. The only expectations they'd ever seen or experienced. So that day I took them through an exercise that to this day, those who are still living, which there are only 2 left, would tell you it was life-changing. I said, you gotta talk to me. What do I have to do as the senior pastor that only I can do? No one else can do this. It has to be me. Let's figure it out now. And we got into a very interesting 2-hour discussion in which, when it was done, there were only 4 things that I had to do. And those 4 things were those everyday essentials. I mean, for example, they said I needed to be the primary preacher communicator. In other words, I had to show up on Sunday. That was a little limiting to me, to be honest with you. But I thought, so what I helped, and so the exercise I took them through is the exercise that you should go through. And it's a very simple question, is, can I teach someone else to do this? And if I can't teach someone else to do this, who should I teach to do this? And then you pass that off.
Right.
Until you are really doing the things that are going to give the true return that you need for whoever you're leading, in this case, Plexus. I hope that helps you a little bit. I could go deeper, but I think because of time, I want to maybe get 1 or 2 more questions on. But I hope that I gave you a little added cherry on the top that will kind of have, because it's a great question. Okay, one more. Mark says it's the last one.
Hand back here. I'm going to come over here this way.
Okay, here we go. Last one. Boy, the questions have been great, haven't they? I'm very good. The questions have been great. Yeah. A lot better than that lousy applause you just gave.
My name is Amy. As a leader, what is the best way to go from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset?
Yeah, I love that question. And I think I can help you in 60 seconds. The best way to go from a scarcity mindset to abundance mindset is to know there's another way to live. And you can live that way. In other words, you're not in prison. You can break out. Once you realize that scarcity will not give you the return of abundance, then you'll begin to get hungry for abundance. So what you need to do is you need to list all the things that scarcity mindset limits you in. I don't have this because I have a scarcity mindset there. I don't think this because I have a... Just make a list of all the things that scarcity does to you, in you, for you, through you, around you. Make a list. And then look at that list and begin to cultivate a hatred for all those things that it does to you.
Right.
Because I will promise you, it is keeping you from reaching your potential. Remember this, what is out there for you is not available to you if you have a scarcity mindset.
Right.
You've got to understand that's an enemy. That's something. Now that you realize that and you become aware, start taking all those things that it robs you from and put on the other side what an abundance mindset will give you if you go over there. And you just start cooking that. Take your list on the left side and start making it your list on the right side. And in the beginning, it'll look like a wish list. There'll be some things that you'll say, I don't think that's probably possible for me. Well, then don't worry about that one yet. Get the cup, take the small stuff, the little stuff, the stuff that you can say, I can do that now, and make progress. Because remember this, a few steps in the right direction is going in the right direction.
Right.
You don't have to have everything mapped out. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have everything understood. Take what you know and move on what you desire and allow that to bring you over. And you can do that. It's a process. But I have zero doubt that you can get there. Just understand, you won't get there by wishing. You won't get there by hoping. You won't get even there by thinking. You only get there by doing. Remember this, actions are the change that you have to have in your life, not thoughts. When people talk about think your way to success, I say, no, nobody ever thought their way to success. People have thought their way to action that gives them success. But you can't wish for success. It's not a genie in a bottle. So when you take action on it, and you take it one at a time, the easy steps first, you can get there. Does that help you? I think the questions have been outstanding. Give yourself a hand. Thank you. Thank you very much.